also, if you join us live, I thought I'd make it go live on time, or at least nearly on time. We're just waiting for one and each to arrive, and then we can get on with it. If you don't want the messy version, wait and see the edited version on Thursday. I am actually recording it properly this week. Yes, I am. Good. All this with just me talking here will be cut out, and you could just watch the best bits, I guess. That is provided he turns up, but usually one of us is a little bit late turning up when we record these things. I won't say we quite take it in turns, but yeah, one of us is usually a couple of minutes late. I'll just check out. Here he is. He'll be in for a shock now. If you are joining us live, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat, which is that way.
It's fine.
Oh, technical things, eh? What's going on there, Matthew?
Like I said, I was getting done cleaning my area here.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wouldn't it be great if, like, mess could just disappear that quickly?
So,
just so you know, we are live now.
So,
oh, Linda's here. Hi, Linda. How's my audio this week? Is it any better?
that sounds great. Just waiting for my dad to get down here.
Well, we're definitely recording, so we'll have the Zoom recording, and I won't have to try and edit the YouTube footage again, because that was a nightmare last week.
So, all of you, stop.
I'm just wondering, do I need to flip my image or something, because I'm looking the wrong way?
Hey. Hey. Yeah.
For those that are, if anyone is joining us live other than Linda, this is what it's normally like when we're recording 5 minutes or so of like getting the tech sorted.
Well, I was hoping to get everything done in time. Cut it by 2 minutes late. It's not bad.
No, I did explain that one of us is usually late. But now we're going live. We should put in more effort, I guess. And try and hit the road running. Better when I'm closer to the mic.
Mondays and Mondays are my cleaning days, so that's why I'm like trying to get shit done as fast as possible.
Take my dirty glasses off. No.
Cross now.
How are you, Ananichi? Just so you know, we are live now. It's all running. I mean, I can cut out anything if you say something that's going to upset people.
It's like they say in the movie, right? It's alive!
You're on about Frankenstein, aren't you? It's alive!
I just... Oh, nice sunny day again over here.
It's what, sorry?
Nice sunny day.
It was kind of sunny here for a bit. Still cold.
Well, the mountains are supposed to get snow. They're talking about 22 inches.
Right in the mouth.
Oh, I had a piece of paper where... Remember when we got cut off when you were telling a joke?
Uh-huh.
I'd written it down. The bit that I thought would remind you, but the cat's obviously come and knocked it off. Oh. No, that's gone. Okay. Now, at the end of last week's episode, I was going to ask your opinion on... Right. In the West, traditionally, New Year's Day, resolutions and all that kind of nonsense. I read something in an old book, Prentice Mulford, and he was talking about older cultures, and I think he was referring to yours in particular. They used to not do anything over the winter months, the planning or anything like that. Essentially, they hibernated rather than trying to plan things. Is that correct? And what's your take on it?
And they used to basically, the winter time was a time of reflection. It was a time to, how would you say, the winter counts, where the stories were told and preserved. And there wasn't much activity in the tribe itself. There were ceremonies and everything, like giveaways and stuff like that. But more or less, it was like a time of survival, a time of reflection, a time for planning.
Yeah, reflection. That was what, because I wrote an article on it a couple of years ago, and then I updated it because I actually in 2024 took 3 months off, not from work because I started to go to work, but I just didn't do anything. And then when I tried to get started going at the end of March, I took about a month to get going. So I updated my article and said, don't stop because you've got to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, it was a time for little papooses.
A little?
Papooses.
What's that?
Time to create babies.
Yeah, probably because like my family probably went into that because I was born in October.
Yeah, I was laughing the other day. I said the only reflections I have is I look in the mirror. There he is.
Us vampires, we can't. We don't cast a reflection. So, what's your take on New Year's resolutions then? Because there were resolutions going back to Babylonian times, but they were offerings to gods and things like that. That's kind of tradition. But what's your take on Western rituals? Well, not rituals, but ideas, because people want to get fit and they join the gym and never go and all that. So what's your take on New Year's resolutions? Ours.
New Year's resolutions? I don't think we ever even had any in our culture, any resolution.
But what do you think about what Western folk do? Do you think it's a good idea to set resolutions for getting fit and all that at the start of the year, or would you wait till later?
No, resolutions are meant to be broken.
Well, they are in your country.
We make a resolution, but how many of us really keep it?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't think January is the best time to do it.
Yeah. You were just talking about it, like when you look at culture today, and then you go back in time, almost every culture had different gods, different goddesses. And it wasn't until Jesus came that things changed to a so-called one God religion. But then again, when you look at it, what do we call saints? So in the Catholic religion, in the religions, they had their main God, but they also had saints. So they looked at the saints as sometimes gods. So it really didn't change. It seemed like it did it. Now in the native culture, we didn't have any gods except one. And I remember I was doing a talk one day at a high school, and one of the students said, well, you had all kinds of gods. You said you had a tree god. You had a water god. I said, no. I said, we had no gods. Then why did you offer tobacco to them? And I said, because they were living energies. And the trees, for instance, gave us shelter, gave us warmth in winter, gave us fruit. So when we went and we offered tobacco to these different living things, we were thanking them for our survival. So I said we weren't praying to them, we were giving thanks because nature was all part of us and we were part of nature. So we gave thanks. We didn't call them gods, we just called them living energies.
Sorry, I was muted on my microphone then. That's interesting. Slightly wrong on that though, because I think I could maybe wrong on this, but the first time that a single god rather than a pantheon of god was one of the Egyptian pharaohs. Can't remember which one it was now off the top of my head. Because then that obviously led in Judaism, because they have one god, don't they? But just a slight correction on history there. But anyway, that's interesting, because I've got your book here. One of your books, if it will show up on my webcam, which it doesn't want to do. Empowering the Spirit.
Yep.
You remember that one? Okay, because I was flicking through this, and it's a page that I'd turned over the corner for. The Prayer to the Creator.
Uh-huh.
I'll just... In the old ways, one would greet the day by a prayer. The following is an example of the kind of prayer we would say. Do you still do that?
Some do. I know my closest friend, my adopted father, Jake Whitecrow, used to do a prayer every morning. And he used to have a list of names that he had on it. So he would mention every name individually and ask for a blessing. Fool's Crow used to do the same thing. You don't get the old ones. I always used to. I should be doing it, because there's still some people who still do it. That they greet the morning with a prayer and ask for a blessing for other people, and also for nature and stuff. And that was just kind of a ritual that was done by almost everyone. It's just almost like when you look at the Muslims. Every day they have that day of prayer, that hour of prayer. And so again, there are some people who practice it, every day. But when I always laugh, because they sit and they become so humble, and then they grab a gun.
Only in America.
But the whole idea is that if we're going to follow something, we've got to look at the intent itself. And the intent of all religions was peace and love. But somewhere along the line, they went away from that. As soon as they found out that they could make money, they could become rich, it changed.
So you don't do this morning prayer then anymore?
I know, but every once in a while, like I'll go out into the lodge and everything, and I'll offer tobacco, and I'll basically explain what's happening in the world today, and that there has to be some things done to bring everything back into balance. It was interesting because I got a message from someone who had a vision, and it made a lot of sense, because what the message was: slow down. I'm trying to move too fast, and that I have to step back and let what's ever going to happen without interfering with it. And in some ways, I was trying to interfere with it by asking the energy certain things, certain assistance in doing certain things. So they told me, slow down. We're doing a analysis, as you would put it. We're giving people enough rope to see if they'll hang themselves. And they said, when the time comes, they said, we will let you know, and then you can do what you have to do. But right now, the world is being tested. And the only thing that they said I could do was to try to convince people through my words to take on the heart rather than the head. And that to give them a chance to make a choice. Give them information so they could sit there, and then they can come out and they make the right choice. But that's all I'm supposed to do, is give them a second chance to find themselves. And that's all I can do. That's why the telecast is important. But if we get more people, the whole idea is they need to spread it as well. Because number one, that's their chance. The chance that they're getting right now is whether they're going to be here when the final test comes or they're going to be gone.
Okay, you got off on a bit of a tangent from when I asked you about whether you still do this. Oh, I forgot what it actually said it was called. Prayer, was it prayer to the Creator? Somebody's asked, why is there an arrow on the screen? That's my mouse pointer, I'm afraid. No, but that wasn't the question. The question was, why don't you do it anymore then? Your prayer to the Creator in the morning.
Oh, why did I pray to the Creator?
Why don't you do it anymore?
I don't. Well, I do it, but I just don't do it as often.
Why? That's
the whole idea is that I can sit there but I look, I'm a typical human being. I'll sit out and I'll do a prayer, and if I don't get it answered, I get frustrated. I say, why the hell am I out here asking for things and it's not happening? I'm getting tired. In fact, a lot of my prayers, I do a lot of prayers at night. In fact, I should probably take that back, because at night, before I go to bed, I do not a prayer so much, but I talk and I ask for things. And lately I've been sitting there saying, look, I'm getting a bunch of visions. I'm getting a bunch of things that are happening when I'm sleeping. But when I wake up, they disappear in this world. Am I wasting my time? I don't want to keep bugging you with these questions, these prayers that I do at night. And I said, and nothing's happening. So give me a yes or no. Do I continue or do I just stop? And I still haven't gotten an answer. So it gets frustrating, Before, when I was younger, it's almost like I say, now that I'm old, am I useless?
I'm not even as old as you, and I feel that.
Everything seemed to be there. All the energy was there. People would come to me and I use the energy and I work on them, and the next thing you know, they were all right. And nowadays it just seems like, what are they waiting for? At least they could do is give me an answer. Am I barking up the wrong tree? Am I just basically sitting and shouting things into the wind and they're coming back at me? So it's so difficult sometimes, because when we used to pray, if you got answers, then it was all right. You were encouraged. You believed. But the way things are going nowadays, it's like, it's really hard to believe in things. Things that basically I have believed in for the last 50 years. It seems like sometimes I'm being tested. But when I go into vision, I always pass with flying colors. I always make the right decision. And I always say, well, why can't I bring this vision world into this reality? And those are still questions that I'm waiting to be answered. But I'm still keeping my faith. I don't know how long I'll keep it, but sometimes it gets frustrating because people don't understand that they are in a situation of their own destruction. But yet they have a door. And all they have to do is open up that door and go through it. But I can't open the door. They have to do it themselves. It's just like a lot of people will tell me now, they said, well, why did you wait so long to tell me certain things? And I said, because it wasn't your time. I said, I can't sit there and open the door for you. I can't sit there by your side and guide you and tell you things that you need to know. I said, you got to find out those things yourself, because then they belong to you. A lot of people say, well, why didn't you tell me this a long time ago? Well, you weren't ready for it. You had to basically look and empower yourself. I said, I couldn't, because if I did it, I'd become a crutch. So every time you want something done, you come running to me rather than asking and getting your own answer. To empower yourself, because it's yours. It belongs to you. All I can do is give you tools and explain things to you.
Well, it's about taking responsibility, isn't it, really? Because
Yeah.
whilst you're relying on yourself or a therapist or anything else like that, essentially you're still in victim kind of mode because you're not
Yeah.
acting like a grown up, are you? You're going, please help me. I can't do it on my own. And I'm
Yeah.
not judging anybody because I've been in victim mode more times than I care to admit.
Well, the whole idea too. Let's talk about healing. Healing is a natural form of our own immunity system that we have control of. But we've given that away. We've given our immunity away to other people. We've given it to pills. We've given it to doctors. We go to so-called healers, and they're disempowering us.
Don't forget contaminated food too.
Yeah, we got contaminated food out there. Every time we think pesticides are there. So it's completely taken over our body. That's why during the Depression, people became 50% healthier because they grew their own gardens and they didn't have no pesticides in them either. So what they were eating was healthy food. Nowadays, you can't go to a store and there isn't something sprayed on them, some pesticide that's on them. That's not natural for our own bodies.
Or chlorinated chicken, as like your country's trying to get a deal to send over here.
I tried to raise three-legged chickens one time, breed them,
Are you
but I couldn't
joking or
catch 'em.
serious?
But I couldn't catch them. They were too fast.
Never know with you whether you're actually being serious.
A lot of people sit there sometimes. They say, "When are you serious?" I said, "Well, within my own jokes, there's seriousness."
Okay, coming back to the prayer to the Creator,
Uh-huh.
can you remember it? Can you
Remember what?
remember the prayer to the Creator that was in your book?
No.
No.
The
No.
whole idea is that once that prayer is out, it's kind of like it's no longer from the heart anymore. So when you pray, your prayers are different because you send a different message each time. And you have to be sincere. You have to come from your heart. And so if I start going back there and I start reading it, again, it's a written thing. It's not a thing that's coming from my heart again because it's already been told. It's already been said.
And I also want to mention that you don't need to just pray to the Creator because there are other forces that are around us that are meant to help us to connect to the Creator as well.
Yeah.
So just remember, like we always believe guardian angels are around us, just like we believe energies are all around us. So we need to learn to listen to them as well, and they are also can be our messengers as well to help communicate between the energies of the like I said, beyond of reality.
Yeah, that's a good point because number one, maybe we should get rid of the word prayer and talk. Because when we go out there, we don't only talk to the Creator, we talk to all of nature. Because it's depending on what we need and what we want. There's something in nature in there that will tell us something. Animals sometimes will come to us and look right at us, and they're trying to give us a message. So everything has a communication level that we can communicate with. So if where certain things are happening, well, ask the nature for answers. Ask the universal energies for answer. For questions that you have. So anything that basically considered life form can help you. I tell people, go hug a dying tree. When you hug that dying tree, all of a sudden you break out into tears because you feel the pain of that tree because it's time. But then again, you feel the pain. But what you should do is eventually that pain turns to joy because it's released. It's no longer a tree, it's energy.
Cool. The reason I keep circling back to the prayer is in modern society, everyone's addicted to these things, aren't they? And they'll start the day off doom scrolling on social media, whereas I thought if you had a kind of ritual first thing in the morning, about getting back on your pathways, mending the hoop, starting your day with something like that prayer or something else that you suggest might get you in the right mindset so that the rest of your day unfolds, instead of you starting off with looking on Facebook, hearing what Donald Trump's done lately and going, oh, for fuck's sake, humanity's fucked. You know, changing that mindset to everything is one. So,
well, believe it or not, you know, it kind of brings me back that little movie with Gene Wilder and everything. That native people will offer tobacco, and they put the tobacco on, and this just to get your attention. So we do offer tobacco, and we ask, because you have to always give if you want something. To receive, you have to give. And if you receive something, you go out and you give tobacco. Or sometimes they want food. So it all depends on what they want, because you start off with your morning talk and everything with an offering of tobacco.
So is that what you're suggesting that people, the listeners or viewers, should do, is start the day, instead of doom scrolling, go out and offer some tobacco then?
Yeah, offer tobacco first and said, hear me. That's like a telephone call. And I was doing a talk over in England, and I was telling them about how tobacco can be a telephone call. So I took the tobacco out and I said, so you sit there and you say, please call me. And then you put it down. And as I put the tobacco down around, the phone rang. And the guy said, oh, excuse me. I said, answer it. Hello? Hello? He said, no one's there. So I said, continue again, and the phone rang again. He said, I shut it off. He said, well, say hello. There's nobody on there. I know, I said, because it's for me, not for you. But, you know, strange things happen like that when you do things, you know, to verify that you're doing things the correct way. You always look for verification.
And remember, tobacco is a tool for communications. You learn how to communicate properly.
Yeah, that's more asking for something. I'm more on about just getting your head into the right space so that you're approaching the day in a more holistic way rather than in a psychologically negative way.
So, like Dad said, it's everything is put here as a tool to help us, and something that just helps us to teach us what we need to learn. Like the tobacco ceremony, like my dad says, it's like a telephone. But the funny thing is, we all have this gift to communicate with everything around us. It's just that we lost that communication. Tobacco is that tool to help us to connect again. And once we start learning how to connect to that communication to what is around us, we actually don't really need tobacco, because we're starting to hear now. We're starting to listen what's out there finally. Yeah. And that's very, very important. And those prayers that we ask, we have to realize that everything is listening, but you know, everything has this natural law of order that they must follow, because if it disrupts it, who knows, we may get chaos out of it, and it's not what we're asking for.
Right. You know, I'm going to ask my question again, because you go back to your tobacco. Right. I was, like yourself, I was brought up Christian, as in C of E. Yep. Then in the Navy, I went a bit weird. Then I became an atheist. I went to the Witchcraft Museum in Boscastle, and that's when I started learning about more nature-based religions. That was 1999. Got loads of books on it, and for many years I used to do an invocation to the sun in the morning, which was to the god, and then in the evening I'd do one to the goddess, which was the moon. And when I was doing that, that meant that I started my day in a kind of spiritual way and ended it in a spiritual way. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't about me asking for anything. I didn't want anything. It was just about that connection things, and so that my day flows. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
And that's what I'm saying, is that even with the tobacco, like I say, you don't need it. For instance, what do Christians do? But yet they still find a way to connect when they pray, right? It's about praying for a connection, to understand what is out there, because remember, we're still learning what the universe is all about. We're still infants, little babies, still trying to understand what is the universe really truly is.
Well, we'll never know that.
So that's what
because we're not capable
that's what
of
the
it.
Prayer is that connection, so we can connect to what I call is a collective energy of thoughts. remember, everything has this type of communication, even if it's through thoughts itself. Because I do believe that even trees think. I even believe that plants think. All animals think, and we all think. And where does all that energy go?
Right, and back to my question.
But that's what I'm saying. That's where
For
prayer.
the viewer or the listener, how do they get their headspace into that then? Are you saying they just go out and talk to something then? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's all it takes, because it's the collective energy of thought.
Hmm.
And one day you may feel that energy of thought come right back at you, and you're like, wow, where did that thought come from? That means the tree is starting to finally talk to you. The funny thing is that I keep on feeling sadness around me, and it took me for a long time to understand where that sadness is coming from. It's all the voices around us. They're screaming at us, but we're not listening. And they feel frustrated. They feel sad that we are not listening because we're losing our way. But once we start listening to the collective thought of energy, guess what happens? We start to hear what's actually out there, and we'll start to realize the knowledge that we can learn, just like Albert Einstein and other brilliant scientists that get these thoughts out of nowhere. But they didn't. It had to be there, right? For them to understand this process of thought. Just like prayer does the same thing. It's putting this process of thought out there. That's all it takes, is thinking, talking.
Okay, and as a practical step then, what would you suggest to somebody to start their day then?
Um,
A simple, starting off simple. We haven't got to go too deep into it.
I've been like, I don't know. How I started to do it is start talking to myself and trying to understand myself, what I need to do for myself. So when I speak out loud, my mind is hearing me, and I need to listen to myself as well.
That's
You
about
know?
you.
Yep. That's a start,
A
right?
practical step for somebody.
The only
But
thing I
it's-
have to add, the only thing I have to add is don't pray with your mind. Whatever feeling you're having, express it.
Mhm.
And if someone, an energy out there, a life force energy is out there, they will. That's why I always tell people, walk in a circle with two rocks, and whatever place you place that rock, when you feel something, if you go around and you find it the same place, that's where you sit down and you express your feelings and allow the whole circle of nature, everything out there, one section. It may be a wolf, it may be a tree, it may be all of a sudden that energy will come to you, because that's where your answer is going to be,
Yep.
and that's what you're going to communicate with. So, but people, again, they sit there, and there's simple ways of doing it. But if you have, say, for instance, something happened to you, the first thing you do, say, you call me. I had this. Can you tell me?
So
When the answer is clear, it's there. All you have to do is see it for what it is. Now, I usually sit there and I'll do what they call a circle your wagon technique, where I'll shoot little arrows in someone until they finally say, I got it. And this is what I'm feeling. This is it. You're right. You're 100% right. I didn't tell them, but I shot little arrows in them until they finally realized they had the answer.
yep, that's what I mean. You gotta figure things out for yourself.
Yes, but if we're giving tools to the audience, now
So-
not everybody is going to be able to go out and sit by a tree, because there may not be a tree. They may be in the centre of New York City.
What do you think epiphanies are?
We're not on about epiphanies. We're on about just
But
getting
no,
someone
but
into
you
a
think
headset.
epiphanies
Don't
are-
start straying off, Matthew.
I'm not.
We're on
It's
about
still
a
the
practical,
same
right?
subject.
For the listener or the viewer that's watching, they may be in an apartment in a small block and got hardly anything going on. It's very hard in this modern world to switch from a screen, which is what I was on about with the doom scrolling, to becoming more open to what's going on. And if that's what you're surrounded by, I mean, I'm lucky, I've got lots of nature by me, but I'm on about the person watching or listening to this podcast. They might be going, well, that's great, but I haven't got anywhere like that to go. What can I do to get into the right headspace? Now, do you get me?
The whole saying says, just say, try it, you'll like it. So again, all you have to do is take that first step. And that first step is to realize that there is somebody listening.
Mm-hmm.
And that basically, again, just express yourself. And all of a sudden, the first thing will happen is all of a sudden you'll get an answer, and then all of a sudden, guess what? Here comes your belief system.
And
And then you sit there and you pray with your heart, you got a feeling, all of a sudden you'll go to sleep, you'll get another answer. And all of a sudden you start connecting the dots.
and
And then you become part of it where you can go out and you learn to talk. But we also have to remember that we have to give if we're going to take. And if we take, we got to give.
and this is what I was talking about. Epiphany is what my dad is talking about. That's what an epiphany does.
Yeah,
Okay?
but having an epiphany is all right. But you
It
got
means
to
that
get.
you're getting an idea from something that you've been asking for and finally came to you. That's what an epiphany does. Even when you talk to yourself and try and figure things out for yourself or for an answer that a question that you've been seeking an answer and you finally get an epiphany.
I'm
And
on
rather
about
than
changing
trying to get
mindset, which I don't think we're still communicating. Nothing wrong with anything you're saying. It's all good stuff, but I'm just trying to get somebody's mental headspace out of the doom scroll into spiritual. Because you said you've got the tools, you've got messages, people to ask questions, but they may just go, "Oh, I can't ask questions," and be looking at the phone and all that.
what they ought to do is learn one thing: simplify.
There we go.
If we can simplify, and like I said, in order to understand something, okay, you see a chair and you want to take the chair and you want to move it over here, and you sit there and no one don't care how many times you think about it, the chair's not going to move until you go pick it up and you move it. So the reality is you have to simplify it to a point where you're doing it and not trying to get something else to do it. You yourself have to have the faith in yourself that you want to basically ask a simple question, and then you take it in and you say, well, this really bothers me. And once you're doing that, you're actually starting to tie into the universal energies. And you start getting answers. When you go to sleep at night, you get answers. And it's like that old joke where a guy sits there and he says, I lost my job. I got to win the lottery. He lost his job, everything. And he said, my family's going to leave me because I'm going to lose the house, lose the car. Help me win the lottery. And he lost his house. His family moved away. And he says, God, Lord, why is it I come to you and I pray to you and to win the lottery, and yet you haven't done nothing? And the voice comes, buy a ticket. Because we want things to be done for us. We've gotten so lazy that we don't take the time out that things are simple. We just complicate it. And unfortunately, people out there are complicating things because they're keeping away from who you are and your connection. They always want, well, do this for me and I'll do this for you. And the whole idea is a lot of times everything that you do, if you simplify and you ask, it's free.
And that's what I'm saying. Just the simple thing is just to talk. You don't have to complicate of what you have to talk about. Just talk. Please just talk to what's out there. That's all it takes.
What would you do then, Matthew, if I'm going to put you in a situation then? You're living in an apartment block somewhere that with no nature around you. How would you maintain your connection then? What would you do?
Told you. I talk to myself because I'm trying to figure things out. And guess what? There are things that are talking to me. I couldn't explain it for a long, long time because I'm someone who actually does talk to myself and trying to figure things out because I'm always a seeker of knowledge and truth, no matter what. And it's pretty funny because the more I talk to myself, the more I understand that I'm throwing out this energy of thought. And apparently something's picking it up, because apparently I'm receiving some kind of thoughts that are coming back to me. And at first I thought it was crazy. Maybe it's a split personality type of situation. Could be because, it's just me talking to myself. But later on, I start to understand that things that do come to me eventually come true. And that's when I'm like, wait, there's something up, like I'm gaining something actually. It just didn't make sense at first because I complicated things.
Right, we're down into the last minute. So with that stuff, what the energies that you're talking about, if what I'm trying to say, no nature around you other than air.
Like
There's always something around you.
Yeah, what I meant is there's no life apart from people then. If
What?
you're in an environment where there's no plants whatsoever.
See, this is the problem with the world. Like, for instance, what if I told you I was able to talk to Gabriel and Gabriel speaks to me? What would you think?
You're mad.
Let's just say,
Hold on.
hypothesis.
A simple thing is this: you're in your apartment. There's no, like you said, no flowers, no land. How many people in the world?
I'm not sure what it is now. 8 billion, is it?
8.5 billion, right? Do they exist?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you're not alone. No matter if you're in an apartment by yourself, there's energy of people all over the world. And
So that energy's there anyway. Is that what you're saying? Oh. Dang. I don't know how to stop the recording now. Got to fucking... If we're still going live on YouTube and you can see me or hear me, I am ending the recording now. Sorry, it just cut off. And I don't know how to stop. Where's the stop going live?